Hey everyone, we're here with Nicolas Miranda, our registered migration agent from Visado Migration Services, and we're happy for you to be here watching this video because we're going to continue to talk about the general migration visa, skill visas, which a lot of people mention or talk about it, or probably if you're thinking about migrating to Australia, it will be an option for you to migrate. So before we start, let's give it a welcome to Nick. Welcome, Nick, to our videos.
Thanks, George. It's good to be here.
So we're gonna start sharing a lot of information here. Please don't forget to hit the bell button, the like, share, or also subscribe to our channel so that you can actually get all the updates that we get from the different visas. Just remember, we're not talking about just the skill. Today is the skill. This is a skill migration program, but we have other visas like partner visas, graduate visas, and so on and so forth. So, Nick, let's get going. We've mentioned about roughly on our first video about what it is, the skill migration, yeah? And we talk about the occupations and all this stuff, but how does it actually works? How can we give our viewers and listeners a little bit of understanding on how the general migration or skill migration or the skill visa, how a lot of people mention about it or call it, how does it work?
I think that's probably the trickiest thing is how does it actually work? You know, there's a lot of confusion. Are you applying for a visa? Are you not applying for a visa? Is a government picking you? How does it actually work? Let's kind of simplify everything. So there's three different visas that exist under general skilled migration. And they all work effectively in the same way. And that is, firstly, the first stage is you put your points together based on different things, based on your personal profile. So the points are relevant, are reflective of your level of English, your work experience, if you've studied in Australia, if you haven't studied in Australia. They give you points for different things, you know, professional year, even if you've got a partner, if you're single, whatever. And these points are readily available. They're up there on the website. So you put all your points together, and you want to make sure that you get over the 65 point mark. Now, once you have done that, and there's things involved. You need to get a skills assessment. You need to make sure your English has been examined, or you've been tested on your English and things. So you kind of need to put a few things together as well. Once you've got over 65 points, what then happens next is you will then apply to either the Department of Home Affairs or to a state or territory if you're applying for a state-based points visa like the 190 or the 491. Either way, you apply to the same place, okay, which is Skill Select. So you get your points and you apply to that area. Every month, the government will go through the list of people who are applying with points, and they will pick those with the highest number of points. This is then stage 2, where if you're picked, then you will receive the nomination or the invitation to apply finally. So once you receive that invitation, you then take your invitation and you now move on to the third stage, which is applying for the visa. And that's the final step in the general skilled migration sort of step three-step pathway. When you apply for the visa, now you're actually applying for a visa. You're in the previous steps, you were not applying for a visa, you were applying to be nominated or to be invited. So now that you apply for the visa, you can then apply for the visa. And now you're basically good to go.
So Nick, if we divide it into these three, which is points, a skill select, and then the application, we could obviously the application is when you have everything ready. So when pretty much you're ready to apply, and if you're ready to apply, you're most likely gonna get the visa.
That's right.
But you have to go first from the first step,
That's
which
right.
is the points. You said, and that's what the information we actually receive from the website. You have to do 65 points, etc., 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 and then you have there's a calculator there, and then you can say, okay, I've got this age or in this range of age, and I've got these studies, and I've got this, and this, and it gives us those points. But the tricky part of it is the competition when you actually get the to the skill select when you are applying to see whether you're being invited or not.
Mhm.
Can you extend a little bit more about this?
Yeah, sure. So I think at any one time, there's about 70,000 people who are competing to be nominated by the department or invited. Now, just these last few months, the department has been inviting about 500 to 1,000 people each month. So it's not really a lot of people that are being invited. That means it's really highly competitive. That means that your points really need to be pretty good, pretty high. It depends on what the occupation is as well. But what is the most important thing that will get your points nice and high is having a high level of English. Having studied in Australia also really seems to help. And even looking at potentially considering one of the maybe a regional or a state-sponsored skilled points-based visa such as the 190 or the 491. And why is that? Because the states give you points. So they may give you 5 points for the 190, or if you're applying for the 491, which is a regional skilled visa, they give you 15 points. So that also helps your overall points.
So that comes to the saying, the more the better, and that will definitely fit into it. So if I have someone that has, I don't know, 71 points and I have 70 points, in disadvantage over that person. So it's always good to boost up those points. Or let's say I know that if you do a course or a test or you become a translator in the NATI, you get like 5 points,
That's
or
right.
your partner, or if you're single. There's a lot of different things that will help, and that's really important. And that you have to do it before you apply, because otherwise, what if you don't get invited?
So if you don't get invited, now if you apply to be invited, your profile sits in the system for 2 years.
Wow.
Okay, so usually, look, a good rule of thumb is if you have not been invited within 6 months, you're unlikely to be invited. Um, you may be invited, but if you've been in the system for 6 months and you're yet to receive an invitation, well, your points are not high enough. Now you can continue updating your profile for 2 years. If say that you become a NADI translator, you can add those 5 points. Say that you take on a course and you finish that, you can add that. It sits there for 2 years. Now, during that time, you need to make sure that you have the correct visa to allow you to be lawful in Australia. But if 2 years lapses and you have not been invited, you can start the process again if you want to.
Okay.
So you can continue putting your points together over and over again. There's nothing preventing you from doing that.
And would you be able to apply to different states at
You
the same
can
time?
only one state
Okay.
at each time. Yeah, exactly. So
Can you withdraw the application and apply to another? Let's say after a year or a year and a half, and tired of waiting, and
it's not working out in this state,
yeah.
or I'm waiting to. Yeah, definitely. You can withdraw that application, or you can start a new application and apply for a new state. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And very last question, because we're running out of time. Can I, or does these points work overseas as well? I mean, from offshore people, or is just
They
for
do.
onshore?
They do. So it's an offshore program as well. Obviously, during COVID-19 pandemic, borders are closed, so there's no offshore option. But in normal times, yes, definitely, it works offshore and onshore. The only thing they're looking for offshore is, do you have the funds to support yourself while you're in Australia?
Okay, cool. So, guys, thanks for being tuned in our videos. Actually, every time I do these videos, I learn a lot, because I don't have the time to talk to Nick all the time, and he doesn't have the time to be explaining us a lot of these questions and doubts. I think we can make another video on just the point base, because I do want to know how can I boost up my points. And we can go more into details, and probably will give you more insights into that. I do appreciate, Nick, for your time and for your experience, that always very, I will say, very in detail you're putting it here in these videos, and to our viewers and listeners will most likely create the value that we are expecting from this video. So Nick, thanks a lot for this time. And guys, remember, hit that button and also the subscribe button so that you get the updates on the visas, because this changes all the time. Thanks a lot and see you next time.
Bye bye.
Thank you.